I was asked to review this product about a week and a half ago, and it took me that much time just to start thinking about the video because I was in two minds about whether I actually wanted to review it. I started doing my research on the features. I really enjoyed testing it out. But I then started looking at some of the other videos that had come up in the meantime, and I don't know, I got a weird feeling watching all these people that I actually really enjoy, and absolutely no disrespect to them, but just play these random, just slightly modified Rage Against the Machine riffs, not to get demonetized. And just focusing on a few kind of gimmicky almost features of it. And I don't know, I am a massive Tom Morello fan. He is personally one of my favorite guitar players ever. Maybe it's because I hold him in such high regards that I felt a bit funny about reviewing his signature Neural DSP Archetype Tom Morello plugin. But I've decided to go ahead with it anyways, and maybe try and take a different view on it. So let's get started, and I hope you enjoy. Two things before I forget, please like, subscribe, click, do whatever you want, but it helps me to bring more gear, more cool videos, and more great giveaways for you guys. The second thing, this channel is all about good old rock and roll. It's all about having a good time, enjoying music and enjoying life and being good to each other. Regardless of whatever you may think about Tom Morello's political views, etc., be nice to each other. We're here just to talk about the plugin, so concentrate on that. So as you may have picked up in my roundabout introduction, we are reviewing the Neural DSP Tom Morello Archetype. Tom Morello is the kind of cat that in over 3 decades, I think, has never really changed his rig that much. So when you get a plugin that looks to get that signature sound, you know you're going to get a Marshall amp, you know you're going to get quite a few effects pedals, a whammy, a wah, and I believe it was a PV cab, but I may be wrong. So let's see what magic the fine folk at Neural DSP have done on this fairly straightforward rig. And like I mentioned before, let's try to think a little bit out the box, because let's get this clear. Tom Morello is one of those players that got a sound, the sound that he was looking for as an individual. And that sound was maybe not invented by him, maybe not exclusive to him, but he got all his influences and put them into one. And that's his unique sound. So let's see how this plugin can actually help you as a player maybe achieve your own sound, maybe do things slightly different. Let's have a really quick look at the main plugin screen. There's not that much to talk about because if you are familiar with Neural DSP plugins, it's very similar to all their other plugins, and that's a great thing because they work very well. So let's dive into the features. At the heart of the rig is a model of Tom Morello's faithful Marshall JCM800, I believe, and that is matched with a 4x12 PV cab. Just to say very quickly, the graphics are fantastic as usual with Neural DSP. Really nice detail, very beat up in a Tom Morello kind of style. He's been using this ever since Rage's first album in 1991, so really iconic. Keeping with the true Morello style. Next, we have his famous DigiTech Whammy pedal. Neural have managed to fit in this plugin not one, but two separate pitch shifters, which are the Dive Bomb and the Wham 1. The Wham 1 pitches your guitar between -24 and +24 semitones. The Dive Bomb changes your tone up or down by 12 semitones. They also managed to add a G-tune function to emulate that kind of chorus effect that you can hear on a lot of the Rage and Audioslave songs. Next, we have the emulation of his Dunlop Crybaby, which sits in the amp's effects loop, and this is together with a simple digital delay, an 8-band EQ, and a phaser pedal, which respectively, I believe, emulates the Boss DD2 for the delay, the DOD EQ for the 8-band EQ, and the MXR Phase 90 for the phaser. Moving on to the cab and IR loader section, this captures Morello's PV 4x12, I believe. It offers tons of microphones, I think about 10 microphones, the usual Neural DSP fantastic room mic section, and also, as mentioned, the ability to load your own IR. Then, finally, at the end of the chain, you have a post-effects section, which includes a 9-band EQ, a stereo reverb, and an additional delay, which is really nice because you've got two delays that you can bounce off each other and create really, really cool effects. Finally, what I really like about this is the doubler section at the top, because it kind of spreads out your sound and is almost taking your mono sound to a stereo. Obviously, one of the standout features for me has to be the whammy side and the pitch shifting side of it. Neural DSP have done a really, really good job here. It works really well. Obviously, you can get those Morello type songs and you can play Rage Against the Machine all day long, but I do think that it has quite a bit of depth to it, and although we are talking about a 1 amp sim, I managed to kind of push it into different directions and get maybe more bluesy sounds. Or even go along the kind of White Stripes, the kind of alternative vibe, which is really hard to do in a plugin because it's a lot easier, I find, to get those really high distorted sounds, but to get those fuzzy, to get those alternative mid-gain sounds is a lot harder to do. And I did enjoy playing this quite a bit. For me, the real plus here is the assortment of pedals that you get and the quality of those pedals. I think it's really nice that you get 2 delays. I think you can do a lot with those, and it does give you kind of that experimental nature that Tom Morello loves, and that I think is a throwback to the 70s. Let's be honest, it has a lot of that Black Sabbath vibe. It has a lot of that experimental early hard rock vibe to it, and really, really nice, very nicely done. The amp emulation is clear. It does what it promises. So it's a Marshall JCM800 type amp with a very specific sound to it, with a very specific cab. By bypassing the cab selection, you can obviously expand its tonal range. If you take this plugin as an all-in-one solution, not taking any other software, it is very precise. It's very contained to a specific sound. In reality, the fact that this plugin delivers on its promise to get the Tom Morello sound is both, for me personally, greatest advantage and disadvantage. And maybe this is the answer to those doubts that I had at the beginning of the video, whether I wanted to actually review this and not make it just a mimicky, I want to sound like Tom Morello. It does sound like a setup, obviously. Tone is in the fingers, guys. It's not in the amp, but you can get very close to some of the tones with this. At the same time, for $120, I think, is this something that you would really make the most out of? Is this something that will help you get your real individual style? Probably not for me. But if you are in a cover band, if you want to emulate that style, or if you just want to have fun, then spot on. I believe Tom Morello himself said in an interview that they worked tirelessly to get this amp plugin to sound exactly like his amp and his setup. And so I think that's the takeaway from this video. If that's what you want, fine. If that's what you really enjoy, it's there and it's really, really high quality. As usual, guys, I hope this was useful, and a few talking points. Let me know what you think. It's interesting to me when these iconic players with such iconic sounds spent their whole lives working on and crafting out of necessity, then work with companies and put them in plugins, and you're kind of force-fed their sound upon you. I don't know if I'm 1,000,000% comfortable with that. So overall, great product. Maybe I'm just weird. As usual, have fun, be good to each other, rock and roll, and have a great day. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.